Does pride and dignity stop the New World Order? Welcome to Panwo TV. Now, I know you're not used to seeing me looking like this. I look a bit different. The quality of the sound and video is a little bit different. There's a reason for that, and I will explain. I know you're used to seeing me on that camera there. Well, I'm not using that camera at the moment. All will be revealed.
And hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World. Oh, I've done all that, haven't I? Yes, welcome to this UFO Disclosure 2015. Happy New Year. Last year before confirmation? Or is this the first year after disclosure? That's the question. Maybe we'll go to that later. Anyway, that little bit at the beginning was actually me filming on a completely different camera. It's actually this. This is my pen camera that's been given to me, or sort of lent to me, by somebody at the Bassett conference. Do you remember on the Bassett conference video when I was going through my souvenirs and I said, this is a secret. This was the secret. This is actually a pen camera. It's very clever, you see, because there's like a little lens there, and you just press that button there and these lights light up to tell you it's working, and you just unscrew it like this, and there's like a little USB clip in there. You just put it into the computer and it's a camera. Now I'm going to put that to good use this year, and you're going to be very, very interested in what I use it for, because I can think of many, many things indeed. But anyway, right, that's going to come later. Right now, it's New Year's Eve. I'm getting ready to celebrate. I haven't got the drinks out yet, but it's the end of 2014, and next year is 2015. Could it be the year of disclosure? I don't know. I really don't. But like I've said in the last 3 movies now, I feel something's going to happen. I feel good about it. I feel something's coming. So it remains to be seen. But in the meantime, has there been any progress? We shall see. Well, first of all, we still have the little problem I brought up last week. Yeah, well, basically, Steve, bless his cotton socks, still has not posted the correct link in his weekly updates. If you, as I explained last week, if you go to the Exopolitics, if you go to the Paradigm Search Group website and sign up for his weekly newsletter, the newsletter includes his recent TV interviews, which include this week Coast to Coast. He was on Coast to Coast before Christmas. And Panwo Radio is among them, but Steve has put in the wrong link. He's put in a link to an interview I did with Marcus Allen, who is the he's not Steve Bassett, put it that way. So I did write to Steve, I told him about it, he wrote back and said, thanks for letting me know, Ben, I'll amend it in future newsletters, but he hasn't. It's still the link to Marcus Allen's episode. It's still a link to Marcus Allen's interview. Marcus Allen, he's an interesting chap, he's the British publisher of Nexus magazine, but he's not Steve Bassett still. I'm not going to write and remind Steve again. I'll wait to see if he gets it right. But in the meantime, if you want to listen to my interview with Stephen Bassett, the link is in the description box. And also, here it is. This is what it looks like. And there's the URL at the top. panelradio.blogspot.co.uk. Program 113 podcast, Stephen Bassett. So apologies to anyone who got his newsletters and they found themselves listening to the dulcet tones of Marcus Allen. That is completely unintentional. And of course, as a little reminder that the We the People Disclosure Petition 7 congressional hearings is going to be available on January the 7th. And this is very, very important, and need to sort of like get behind this. Now, this is, like I say, it's the 7th disclosure petition. There have been many, many others, and this is very, very interesting, because the We the People thing is all about the White House allowing people, anyone, to set up a petition. If they can set up a petition and get enough signatures, the White House has to respond. Now, that actually did happen, the White House did respond to the original first disclosure petition. That was simply to get a statement from the White House about what they knew about UFOs, and their reply was, we have no knowledge that any such things as UFOs exist. There's no life beyond planet Earth, and that the American government is certainly not hiding anything from anybody on the subject. Well, that was a lie, as Steve explained. It was a complete lie. Since then, there's been other disclosure petitions, and there's going to be a new one on January the 7th. That's in just 1 week's time. I will put up something on the Panwo Voice blog on that day. Make sure you get your signature in. Check your signatures there, and keep checking it's there. All right? Because it's vitally important, because signatures went missing from some of the previous ones, like the second one, Rockefeller Initiative. Signatures disappeared from that. So that is something we've got to be concerned about, because if that happens again, it means they're playing silly buggers and they're trying to screw us around. Well, have there been any updates? Is there a reason for me to make another video about this subject? And yes, there is. The UFO Truth Magazine, issue 10, has just been released. This is very, very important. It includes such things as the Larry Warren A10 photo. Now, this is very interesting, because this is something that's only just come to light. Larry Warren, one of the principal witnesses of the Rendlesham Forest incident of 1980, actually took a photo with a fun camera he bought that day. This was on the Boxing Day 1980, when the event happened. He was on his way actually home from Ipswich to his digs at the barracks, when he took this photograph of an A-10 tankbuster aircraft landing. He didn't see anything at the time, but when the film was developed, as you can see, there's an object just above it, a small object, and it's blown up in the little box at the bottom. That object very closely resembles the craft that landed in Rendlesham Forest later that evening, or in the early hours of the following morning, and Larry Warren was one of the witnesses to that, and he's been the most vocal. It's worth actually subscribing and getting hold of this magazine. If you get it in quickly before midnight tonight, depending on when you watch this film, it may be too late already. You get a year's subscription for £13.99. One reason actually for buying this magazine is that I write for it. Yes, I have a regular column in there every issue, so that's another reason. So there has been developments. I think if this comes out, right, this is proved to be genuine, and this magazine there's some analysis of the photo. It is checked over to see if it is a real photo and if it's a real object. Obviously, further tests will have to be done. But if this is proven to be a real UFO photo, and the photograph can be authenticated to the time it was taken, and no tampering is visible, then this is a vital piece of evidence about one of the most important UFO events in history. And this ties in with the letter. Larry has recently made available a letter that he wrote. He wrote it just after he'd had his encounter in Rendlesham Forest. He wrote it to his mother. He was only 19 at the time, young chap, away from home, maybe felt a bit lonely, often wrote to his mother. He wrote her a letter, good old-fashioned letter, no Facebook or email in those days, and he described his experience. Now that letter has been analysed and found to be genuine. It's found to be dated to the time Larry wrote it. The handwriting is correct. All the forensics on it check out. So again, this is a very, very vital piece of evidence concerning the Rendlesham Forest incident, which is, as I said, a highly significant UFO event. This could be the smoking gun that will help push the government into a position where they'll be forced into disclosure. Hope. Now, I don't know how many of you saw this, but Steve Bassett appeared on a very, very interesting interview. It's an hour and a quarter on Evolve TV. And if you go to the Paradigm Research Group website, there's a link to it on there. But he said an awful lot of very interesting things. Now, one of the things he talked about was that he believed there were windows of opportunity for disclosure. So there were certain points when disclosure might happen, and he said that the cosmos has its own agenda, which is very, very interesting. He says he wants it now, of course, but he says that it's not always possible to have what you want when you want it, and you have to go along with kind of what the cosmos has planned, because the cosmos might have its own agenda and have its own ideas about when it wants things done. So that's an interesting idea. It's interesting to hear Steve say that, because I mean, I've often thought things like that about all kinds of things that go on in this world and in my life. But he said there are certain windows of opportunity. Sometimes you can get disclosure within those windows, sometimes you can't. Now, what happens, he talks about, when I first saw Steve live, it was 2008, and he was Obama had just become president. Or was it 2009? Yeah, it was at the Beyond Knowledge 2 conference anyway in Liverpool. And this is what I was talking about last week when he said, "Oh, we shall have disclosure before the end of the year. I promise you that, or early next year at the latest." And of course, it didn't happen. But what he said was, I mean, he clarified that. He said in this interview on Evolve TV that windows of opportunity open about when you can have disclosure and when you can't. Now, the reason he said that, because he said he considered Obama to be the disclosure president. The reason he thought that was because the kind of people he had chosen for his administration, one of those was Hillary. Yeah, Hillary, the wife of President Bill Clinton, who's probably almost certainly going to be the next US president. She was in there. Now, she was involved with the Rockefeller Initiative. She was the one who was seen holding this book about life in outer space by Alan Davis, whatever it was called. Obama's talked about Hillary before, about how she's involved and how she knows. He also chose John Podesta. John Podesta is a man who's commented a lot on UFOs. This is the guy that Steve says we have to Google his name every so often. So Google John Podesta whenever you've got a moment. I might do it occasionally. And he said that basically what destroyed that was the bailout. In 2008 there was the economic crash. There was the bailout where they threw armfuls and armfuls of fiat money at the banks. It doubled the national debt of the United States in one fell swoop, so they owed twice as much, countless trillions of this non-existent funny money they never owned. It's not attached to any capital and not backed up by gold. They threw more of that at the bank, so basically that ruined the whole idea of disclosure, because basically there was no funds, everyone was just focused on this. Whether that was actually deliberate or not, I don't know, and I'll come to that again in a minute. You know, whether the bailout was actually done deliberately to stop disclosure, possible. Anyway, that shut the window of opportunity that Steve's talked about. Now, he said there's a new window's opened. It opened in late 2012 when he received the funds to run the citizens' hearing on disclosure, which I talked about before. That took place last year, and I watched it live, of course. This is the hearings. These 5 days of recorded full-time hearing recordings that he has sent to every single member of the US Congress, every senator, every aide, every congressman in the House of Representatives. Okay. Now he says that's what's been sent to them. Now that's a window of opportunity, okay, and that window is open right now. Okay. Steve says there's no guarantees. He doesn't know that it's going to work, and he doesn't guarantee it's going to work, but he feels very confident about it. And as I said before, I feel confident about it too. And so we'll have to see what happens. But anyway, as he explains that the media is the target, he says that it doesn't really matter so much what the president or the people in the White House think. The important thing is to get the media on board, to get people in the newspapers on board. Now, you know what I think of the media. It's not something I can really repeat in polite conversation. But Steve feels quite confident. And as I was saying, when I listened to that article was put up in the Washington Post or the Washington Times, as I said, in the Inside the Beltway article, I was quite surprised by that, and I couldn't help thinking, is the veil lifting? Is the wall of secrecy crumbling? Because, I mean, can you ever imagine? I would never have imagined an article like that could come out in a mainstream newspaper. So again, I'm in this sort of like position about whether, you know what I mean, whether can it be done? Can't it be done? Can it be done? Can't it be done? Kind of thing, you know. And I'm split down the middle here, so we'll have to see. Anyway, on to your comments. Right, new commenter, Dendrox. Welcome to the Panwo TV comments board. Anyway, Dendrox says, notice how there have been a lot of alien movies lately. May just be a trend, but is it possible that it's some way to make people more aware of the subject? Personally, though, I believe that if there's a cover-up, then the government will have no part of it. No government has ever been known to be good at keeping secrets, so there would either have to be a group of people above the president, or it's just between high-ranked people in all the world's space agencies and secret services like the CIA. I can't believe how people don't believe in an idea that we aren't alone. All those billions upon billions of planets just in our galaxy alone, and billions of galaxies, our pale blue and green rock can't be alone. Well, you're absolutely right, Dendrox. Now, as far as the alien movies go, you should actually read Robbie Graham's blog. It's called Silver Screen Saucers. He's actually writing a book, which is coming out very shortly. He's also been invited to take part in a TV series. He's written a lot about how UFOs are portrayed in the media, in TV and film. And they are, for a subject that's supposedly fringe, which no one takes seriously, they are one of the most popular motifs in all of fiction. And some of the most popular films are UFO-related movies. Close Encounters, E.T., etc., etc. So it's very, very interesting. Now, whether there's an agenda behind that, it's hard to know, because UFO movies seem to be have a wide variety of opinions and styles. Some of them are very, very monolithic and very establishment, and others are very rebellious. I mean, Close Encounters, you see, has this very big anti-establishment streak, whereas Independence Day is, oh God, less said about that, the better. Now, he talks about governments and governments not being good at keeping secrets, so there would have to be a group of people above the president or between high-ranked people in the world's space agencies and secret services. Yeah. In fact, Steve himself talks about this sort of thing. In a sense, it's what President Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex. And if you remember, if you ever saw Richard Dolan's interview with that dying old man that's from the CIA, he's a whistleblower from Area 51. He's a former CIA agent, and he said that Eisenhower was planning to invade Area 51 using the National Guard. And he was taking the Nevada National Guard and invade that place. And you think, well, why would they do that for a secret US base? Well, is it a US base? I mean, the solicitor who conducted the Robert Frost lawsuit, that means these men who, former Area 51 employees who served at the base and became sick as a result of the toxic chemicals they were exposed to, tried to sue the government, and their lawyer was asked on TV, do you believe there are aliens at Area 51? And he said something very curious. He said, I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. You have to understand that Area 51 is actually a legal black hole. There's no presidential oversight, there's no congressional oversight, there's no judicial oversight. It is basically, even the president himself would not be allowed to enter that area without special permission. So he says you have to argue, is it even a part of the United States at all? Or is it rather an enclave of some kind of super government? And Richard Dolan, who conducted the interview with that dying man, he has a word for it. He calls it the breakaway civilization. So Dendrox also can't believe how people don't believe that the idea that we're alone. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So up yours, Professor Brian Cox. We're alone out here. There's no aliens. Yes, there are. I mean, if you think about it, there's billions of planets in our galaxy, and they've discovered planets around other stars. There's all these billions of galaxies in the universe, and also, as I explained in previous films, maybe they don't come from other planets. Maybe they're from other dimensions. So thanks for that comment, Dendrox. Now, Stephen Bamber says, this is actually a comment, these are comments that were put on, not on the last video, but the previous one. Stephen Bamber says, we'll never have disclosure until we beat the Illuminati. I agree, Stephen, and this is somewhere where I differ from Steve. Although, like I said, I'm very, very split over this whole thing, but what Steve is actually saying in a way is that disclosure of ETs is kind of only just one of a number of pillars of secrecy that this world is a part of, is actually controlled by. So we just don't know, do we? I mean, it's just hard to. If that goes, and what else? If people say, well, if you've been keeping secrets about UFOs, what else have you been keeping secrets about? So that's a good point. Oh, so that's very, very interesting. Thank you very much for that. Dominic Charters, new commenter again. Ben, I love your channel and commentary, but please think about looking into not hawking snot through your nose and throat. It doesn't sound great through speakers, car, iPod connections. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Don. So thanks, Dominic, for that. I'm sorry about that. I mean, people have often commented, why do you keep coughing and spluttering and sniffing while you're recording? You know, it's a medical condition. It's caused by when I talk for long periods of time. I get it. It makes me snore very loudly as well, much to people's distress. Yeah, so sorry, there's nothing I can do about that. But thanks for the support, Dominic. I will try to keep it to a minimum. Okay. Right, and on to the most recent comments. This is on the last video I did, UFO Disclosure 2015. Is it really possible? Well, Catharism says, Art Bell has some cool things to say on the subject. Yes, he does. Good old Art. It's great to hear him back on the air again. He's actually, well, Steve was on Coast to Coast on the 22nd. Art does his own show now, independently, and I really, really like that. Ian Bennett has shared the video on Google+. Thank you for that. Andy, Andy B1963 says, top work, Ben. Hope you had a great Christmas with all you wished for. I'm also torn, but hoping it does happen. Trying to be prepared for anything, as it certainly feels like something is going to give somehow. Look forward to the next time we get a chin mag over a pint. Yeah, Andy, thank you very much. Hope you had a great Christmas too, and it'd be great to meet up with you again sometime. Tony24 says, I enjoyed the vid. I do think there was more chance of somebody sewing a button on a fart than getting genuine disclosure. And in my opinion, the racist claim is desperately weak. So, Tony, thanks. As far as the racist claim refers to my Obama video, thanks very much. It is extremely weak, and I'm glad that people in this comments box have actually supported me on that. So, much appreciated. Now, as far as sewing a button on the fart and getting disclosure, you obviously haven't seen my farts. You could sew zips on them. No, but yeah, I mean, what you make a good point, which other people have made. Indeed, I have made to myself. And that is, there's a part of me that thinks this is impossible, it can't be done. There's probably the more rational part of my brain is saying that, knowing what I know about geopolitics, saying, really, it's unfeasible. It's beyond. It's a political impossibility for willing disclosure to take place. And as Stephen said, we have to expose the Illuminati. Yeah, and not least because of the can of worms it opens up about other things. It's really beyond the scope of what is acceptable and even possible within the sphere of the modern political world. And maybe the modern political world has been designed the way it is so that these secrets are kept because it's so impossible to reveal them within that sphere. Catharism also thinks that ETs could be interdimensional. I do a lot of night fishing around the Welsh coast, and I've seen stuff that I've never shared. Once I had to call the Coast Guard one night, as meteors go down, not up, and are normally not green. Was told by the Coast Guard they were meteorites and had bounced off the sea. Well, Catharism, these Coast Guards obviously don't know what they're talking about. Either that or they're just trying to fob you off. If you want to tell me more about that, please do. I'd be interested to hear more about your experiences. So thanks very much for that. Dazastar, I used to deride most people with paranormal leanings, but that was because I hadn't looked into it, which is precisely what most other skeptics engage in. Now I see the world and the universe as being a hell of a lot more interesting and enjoyable. Another great post, Ben. You're a legend. Thanks, Dazastar. I know Dazastar from Steve Trueblue's comments box because he's a friend of Steve, and we both post in that comments box. So he's sort of like a skepticologist, like Steve and like me. So thanks for that, Daz. And you're right. I mean, Dazastar's a former skeptic, so it's good, isn't it? It's really quite good for him. Godson7111. What the fuck is up with the beginning of your video? Go kill yourself. Sorry, I don't do requests. Another troll. Stokey. Well, it's almost 2015. Hopefully it will be announced for all those who are not awakened to the truth and the naysayers. As I recall, over the last couple of years, every year it's announced the next year and the next year and the next year of the big announcement. I know, Stokes, that's absolutely right, and Steve has tried to clarify that in the latest interview he's done on Evolve TV. He says he never guarantees things. I mean, he often comes across, I think, a bit overconfident, and perhaps he suffers from a bit of hubris now and again when something really goes his way, like with the citizens' hearing. But he's very rational. He says, I don't guarantee things. All I'm saying is this is a window of opportunity and I feel really good about it. He feels very confident about this year, more than he does about other times. And I do too. This is why I'm making this series of videos, because I feel I feel basically like there's so much potential now. And it's because of a lot of revelations that are coming out. I mean, it's... you know, there's the UFO, there's Thomas Carey and his UFO photo that he's talking about. I spoke about that on previous videos. He says he's got a Roswell photograph, an original Roswell photograph. He says he's keeping it. He says he's not going to reveal it just yet. He's going to wait a couple of months. Well, like I say, his house could get burgled between now and then. But you see, Tom Carey, he works with Don Schmidt on several books and videos to do with Roswell. He's a serious exopolitician and ufologist, and I don't know, I mean, if he's lying, why would he lie about something like this? Why would he sully his reputation? Because, of course, everyone's going to ask, let's see the photos, let's see the photos. And if he starts umming and ahhing and making excuses, he's going to look like a dick, like other people have, like what's his name? The guy who said he caught Bigfoot and then refused to let anyone see the body. And there's several people like that actually. So that's promising. I mean, we could be looking at sort of smoking gun evidence being revealed all in one go, which will make it leave no more doubt, which the media will latch onto. Even the manipulators in the media, like Rupert Murdoch, will be unable to stop it. And then, as Steve said, you know, that's the ball rolling downhill, and it's there. And of course, we got Larry Warren, the evidence Larry Warren has provided in the form of the letter and the photograph. Again, this could be enough to tip the balance. It could be the last straw in the truth embargo. These things are powerful enough, I think. So Stokes, as I said, I don't know. I'm split. There's a rational side of me that says no, but it's. I don't know. I mean, he talks about the naysayers here as well. The naysayers. I mean, the part of the reason. I mean, Dazzlestar will sympathise with me here. Part of the reason I want to see disclosure is just to see the look on the skeptics' faces. I really do. Oh, let's just check how much time have I got left on this. Oh, plenty on the battery, loads on the chip. That's great. Just checking how much film and energy I have left. Because, of course, I don't have a camera that runs off free energy yet. Hopefully, I will do next year. Right, disclosure. This is Masomnia. What a great name. Disclosure right now. There are aliens. They're coming to my house. There, now you know there is disclosure, and this is a good point, because this is what this is almost like guerrilla disclosure, or personal disclosure, or disclosure with a small d. Andrew Johnson calls it the strands of disclosure. It's, in a sense, you know, there are people who don't need to be told because they already know, because they are among the individuals being contacted directly by these beings. So yeah, so really, it wouldn't be news for Masomnia. This is an important point though, because I mean, it's one of the toughest questions that the government is going to be faced with when disclosure happens. Notice I'm saying when, not if. You know. Is what about the abductees? Just think about that for the moment. I mean, you could sue, couldn't you? They'd have to build new courthouses for all the lawsuits. Jason English, great stuff as per Ben. Oh, thanks, Jason. Jason also says it was Ben Rich who said that the quote about the head of Skunkworks. That's right. I was talking about in the previous video about the head of Skunkworks saying that they had the technologies to take E.T. home. It would make George Lucas jealous. It's actually Ben Rich He is, yeah, he indeed is he was the head of Lockheed Martin's advanced development programs, known as the Skunk Works, for various reasons, mostly because of the horrible smells that come out of it from the chemicals they use to build these secret aircraft. It's one of the most secretive places in the world. It's where they developed everything from the U-2 spy plane in the 1950s to maybe the Aurora, which is flying through the skies now. So thanks, Jason. Chev, 42.6 degrees. There's only one arsehole with the thumbs down. Right. Thanks, Jason. I've had how many thumbs down have I had? I always get a couple of thumbs down. I know. I've had 4. I've had 4 thumbs down. So that's not bad, because I've had it's good. Most people like them. I've had 18 thumbs up. So I'm glad about that. So that's right, Chev. I mean, the thing about it is, there are certain people who like to go around trashing people's videos by getting lots and lots of different accounts and putting lots of thumbs down, because when you get so many thumbs downs compared to thumbs up, the video is not, you can't see it. It's YouTube stop it from being available in search so much. That hasn't happened with me though. Stephen Bamber says, around 1997 I used to do a fair bit of sky watching. I still do a bit these days. Back in 97ish I was looking skywards one night and started to focus on what I thought was a star. A bit like meditating really. Must be watching it for at least 20 plus minutes. Then all of a sudden it took off and away, like warp speed. Right, well that's not a star, is it, Stephen? Yeah, that's interesting. If you see it again, get a photograph. Now, Johnny Parker, yeah, he talks here about how it's strange putting these pieces of info together, sifting through so much disinformation, and it's a mind melter, yeah. However, I do think we have a secret past, and that we did possess high technology hundreds of thousands of years ago. There is evidence for this. Well, yeah, I mean, there's evidence to suggest that some ancient monuments were built using different technological methods that we know were available to people, we think were available to people at that time. People in the Stone Age, for example, or in the Bronze Age, were putting together monuments that we couldn't build today with modern technology. So that's a good point. The ancient aliens thing, I'm interested in that. Bob Lazar was probably allowed to speak out, as the disclosure about Area 51 was probably a cover for S4. What's it come to like? Oh, excuse me. It's not your fault, Johnny Parker. I'll just come back from work. Sorry. I want to get this done before New Year's night, so I'm doing it now. It's a cover for secret space missions. Now, I need you to clarify. Are you suggesting that Bob Lazar's revelation was actually controlled? Is that what you mean? If so, I'd like to clarify that with you, because it's a possibility I take seriously. I'm not going to immediately try to debunk it. Just want to discuss it. A lot of the stuff about the bases, deep underground military bases, with Phil Schneider, wasn't he killed? This is interesting. Johnny's referring to the Dulce base, a base which is supposed to exist under the Archuleta Mesa, which is near Dulce, New Mexico. There's a lot of material about that online, the Dulce book and stuff like that by Branton. A lot of people nowadays don't believe it's real. I'm not so sure. For a while I dismissed it, but I think there's some truth behind it, not least because of Phil Schneider. Phil Schneider was indeed killed. He was murdered. And he was murdered in suspicious circumstances. Phil Schneider is a former civil engineer who came forward and revealed that he had worked on deep underground military bases, including the one at Dulce and the one underneath Denver Airport. He was murdered, and basically there was no police investigation. The coroner said he committed suicide, even though he'd somehow managed to tie his catheter line around his neck from the back and was leaning forward. It's impossible. It's ridiculous. You can't hang yourself like that. Now, there's a guy called Darcy Weir, a Canadian man who's done an awful lot of research into this. I've done an interview with Darcy Weir. Go to the Panmo Radio blog. It's program 100. It's easy to remember, 100. I interview that guy and I talk about Phil Schneider. Johnny continues. I find that secret key activators videos very interesting. I don't know that one. He does a good job of breaking down some of the key issues, although I don't agree with everything they say. Not seen them yet, but I'll look that up, mate. I'll look that up. Plus, you suit the Obama look. Real cool, if I may say so. Thank you very much, Johnny. And as I said, if Hillary wins next time, I'll do the whole thing in drag. It's worth voting for her just to see that, isn't it? Rick Cleek says, sometimes I feel like I'm from a different dimension. I don't really relate to most people. Maybe I'm a reptoid. Well, Rick, I feel that way too, and I'm not a reptoid, so I'm sure you're completely human. Other world journeys. Stepped up a gear again, mate. Top stuff. Happy festive season to you, Astain, and all your listeners and viewers. That's from Ellis Taylor. Thanks, Al. You too, mate. Thanks for your support. You've been great. Ellis Taylor. Put Ellis C. Taylor into Google. You'll find his website. Very interesting chap indeed. Dazastar, Merry Christmas. Thanks very much. Right, Stephen. Yeah, Stephen, I'm still having trouble. Stephen here is addressing the issue of me not being able to reply to him. I'm still having that problem, but I'm replying to him verbally now, so that's okay. I can always email him and talk to him through email, but he thinks his YouTube account has been hacked. Okay, well, I hope you get that sorted, Stephen. But you can try on Google+. Yeah, he may be able to reply on Google+. AP Sparanormal. To be honest, I'm not sure what I feel about the whole disclosure thing. Whilst I hope some good comes out of this, having witnessed some strange things in the sky myself, I can't help but think we might not get the results we're looking for. Well, this is a good point, and I brought this up last time. What if they lie? I think it's the only way out for them now is to lie and tell us the aliens are evil and then bring in their fake alien invasion thing. It's the only thing they can do to sort of like save their credibility when you think about it. So that's something we've got to be on our guard against. And Bill says, nice one, Ben. Another good thing. Another good thing. Thanks, Bill. That's Bill 9999. Happy Christmas to you too, and New Year. I hope you had a nice Christmas. Another blonde, new commenter, but this is a lady I know. Another blonde says, thanks for your efforts and content in 2014. Remember Julie Andrews' song, Move Any Mountain, where she collaborated with The Shaman. Now that's interesting, because The Shaman was a band, I think, from the 90s. They had songs like Ebenezer Good, these are good, these are good, Ebenezer Good. But Move Any Mountain was move any mountain, ford any stream, da la 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 la, till you find your dream. Yeah, the Mother Superior sung that song. I don't sound like the Mother Superior in that film, do I? So I don't know what you mean there, another blonde. But thanks for the comment. Ian Bass says, thanks, Ben. Let's hope governments have to tell the truth this new year. That's right, that. Hopefully, yes. Groove Dodger, have a Merry Christmas, Ben. Love your vids. Keeping my mind open. Yes, thank you, Groove Dodger. Have a happy New Year yourself, and I hope you had a nice Christmas. So thanks for your comment. Now, Dazastar says, I'm taking my first ayahuasca on Boxing Day. Looking forward to it. My goodness. How did you get on, Daz? Because it's New Year's Eve. So I hope you came through the experience all right. I hope you had a nice Graham Hancock type revelation rather than the way the bad trips some people have. Of course, that Dan Bostock was talking about Terence McKenna last time. Interesting chap. Do check Terence McKenna out, because he took ayahuasca and wrote books about it. Very interesting indeed. And Oya 1100 shared this video on Google+. Thank you very much, Oya. Thanks for all your comments. So, I think that just leaves us with one question. Is this the last year before confirmation? And is 2014 the last year, or 2015? And that's a good question. I mean, if we have disclosure in 2015, will it be the last year BC or the first year AD? And as Bryce Sable and Richard Dolan has said, those stand for the words before confirmation and after disclosure. And that's that video. I want to show you a video. Here it is. You've got to watch this. This is I think I showed you this last week, didn't I? This is Terry Toftness's film, The Day Before Disclosure, the greatest story in human history. When the children of tomorrow open their textbooks on human history, what will they read about? And this blurb goes around. Now, I got the DVD. I think it's on YouTube now anyway, but really do try to watch this if you can. The interesting bit I think is the last part, because it's like about an hour. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long. It's the last 20 minutes that are the most interesting. But it's very interesting, the symbolism in the imagery. You have this blackness here, then there's a red line, and there's a whiteness, and there's little dots of red coming off it. Now, this could symbolise the moment. The red line could symbolise the moment of disclosure. We were all in the dark before. See, this is like a timeline. There's past, present, future. All right, we're all in the dark before. Then suddenly, There's disclosure, and then we're all in the light, in the whiteness, you see. I've often thought that about this film. I do recommend it. There's little bits of red coming off it, maybe indicating the impact of disclosure. There's little red sparks flying off into the light bit, you know. They're probably flying off into the dark bit as well. But that, to me, is a really good film to watch. You get it on YouTube, like I say, to have a look for it. But it will be like that, and of course this is a tricky situation because I'm well aware of the kind of like messianic nature of this whole issue, because people have said quite rightly, you know, am I sort of falling into that mindset myself? It's almost like hanging on for some moment when everything will be all right, and it's sort of like it's almost like a kind of millennialism. I'm almost like the Jehovah's Witnesses hanging on for the return of the Jehovah or something, or these various other Heaven's Gate people. You know, there is something a little bit cultic about that. Now, I don't think so, because we are dealing with something in the real world here. We're dealing with a real world situation. However, the whole concept of the year zero attitude is maybe there's something natural in us that is just prone to that kind of thing, and if so, you know, maybe I'm just being human in this idea that I have a vision, and this vision involves a certain structure by which a vision can be achieved, and when that structure falls into place, that's the kind of year zero. I know year zero is a term used by Pol Pot, who's one of the most vicious evil men in history, leader of the Cambodian Khmer Rouge, the communist regime in Cambodia, which of course killed millions of people and tried to change everything. And they said from now on it's year zero. After this, everything's going to be our way. And so everything before that is, so it's basically everything starting again. Forget your history. So there is that kind of thing to be concerned about. I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting now. While I'm filming, it's 3:15 in the afternoon. You'll be watching this. It'll be a bit later. It'll be closer to midnight. But are we looking for a situation? We got all these timelines sort of converging on a particular spot. There's no doubt about it. They're sort of like there are arrows pointing to this particular spot, place in or moment in time. And as I said, it's this emergence of new evidence to do with the Rendlesham Forest incident. There's Tom Carey and his photos that he says he has. I don't think Tom Carey would say that sort of thing idly. I think he would only say that if maybe he knows, maybe he's been conversing with Steve Bassett behind everyone's backs, and they got something planned. Because if you notice, if you listen to my interview with Steve on the radio, when I bring up Tom Carey and the photos, he gets a bit cagey. Maybe he knows something he's not telling us. Maybe he can't tell us yet. If so, that's fair enough. I respect that. So right now, I've had no communication with Steve personally since I tried to contact him to tell him to change, to get the right interview on his updates. But that's not a problem. I've told you how you can listen to my interview with Steve Bassett, and there's a link in the description box. There's the URL I showed you, so you can listen to it. But Steve is still very, I imagine Steve's he's taking time off over Christmas, surely, in the new year, to spend time with his family and stuff. I don't know, maybe he's just, because I know of course all the Congress people are going to be, so probably there's been very little progress in Steve's life since the last video, which I uploaded on the 20th, in terms of Steve's work. But you can bet the moment New Year's over, he's going to be back in Washington, back to work. Well, he lives in Washington actually, I think now, so he's going to be back to work, lobbying the Congress, trying to get these committees to host events with him. The disclosure petition's coming out. We've got to get signing. Keep that tweet storm going. I've done a few more. I haven't had time to do them all again, but do as many of these tweets and Facebooks and emails as you can. Just keep the pressure up, all right, and sign the petition, like I said. So we are entering now the period I talked about, maybe early 2015. I've got a feeling, before this film has been uploaded for a week, there may be some more news. If not disclosure, I'm not saying it'll be disclosure, but there may be a significant update before this film has been up for 1 week. That's my feeling is going to happen. Now, in a week's time, you'll be able to know one way or the other, but I know that it's 1 week from today that the disclosure petition hits the We Are People website. So We Are Change, and not We Are Change. We Are the People. Don't get those mixed up. The We the People on the whitehouse.gov. So we'll see. Anyway, I will be bringing you further updates as and when. Of course, I will be making films about other subjects as well. I'm not going to just focus on this one thing. Don't worry. I'm actually going to do I've got an important new update to do on the zombie situation, and I'll be basically remaking my previous zombie lectures in studio quality conditions, because I had problems with the sound audio on both of my live lectures on that subject. And I hope you all had a great Christmas, and I really do appreciate all the support you've given me. I really do, because I've got some really great people involved now who watch my videos and listen to the radio show, read the blogs. You're so nice to me, and you're so supportive. And I get my fair share of trolls, like that person I was talking about. There was just one person who's nasty on that comments box on my last video. Well, I get those as well, but again, in the end of the day, I'm hardly a twittering virgin, am I? I'm a big ugly ex-hospital porter. I don't get intimidated by these things easily. And as I said, they're a small minority. Most of you are fantastic, and so thanks very much for all the support you've given me in 2014. Much more to come in 2015. Please watch this proverbial space, and I will certainly be. I've got plenty lined up, plenty of plans. I'm not going to stop. I'm never going to stop until we put an end to this nonsense. Not just in terms of UFO disclosure, but till everything else is exposed. All the other secrets are exposed. That is ruined in this world. It all has to come out, and I'm not going to rest until it has come out, and I'm not going to stop doing what I do, making these videos, writing the blog posts, the radio shows, anything. I'm going to do that for as long as I'm able to, or until we put an end to this crap and we have a free world. Whichever one comes first, that's when I'll stop. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.